back to my kitchen. It's Danny DiGiacomo. Today I'm making my grandmother's go-to dessert. Quick and easy chocolate pudding, raspberry jello, and whipped cream parfait. It's kid-friendly, it's simple, and the hardest part is waiting for the jello to set up. Let's get cooking. There are 3 easy steps to this dessert. Step 1, our chocolate pudding layer, which uses 2 cups of very cold milk. Step 2, our jello layer, which uses 2 cups of water. One is hot and one is cold. And step 3, our homemade whipped cream. We have 1 box of instant chocolate pudding. We have 2 cups of very cold milk, whole milk. We have 1 box of raspberry jello. We have 2 cups of water. We have a half pint of heavy whipping cream, 3 tablespoons of confectioner's sugar, and about a teaspoon of vanilla. So let's make our chocolate pudding layer. We have 2 cups of very cold milk. I'm actually going to pour it right into my measuring cup so that it's easy for me to pour it once it sets up, to pour it into the cups. I have my packet of pudding mix. And now I'm going to start to whisk for 2 minutes according to the package direction. So I'm going to start to whisk and I'm going to set my timer for 2 minutes. And what's going to happen here is the mixture is going to start to set up because of the gelatin in it. And that's going to start to form your layers. Now, I grew up having it with chocolate pudding, raspberry jello, or some sort of red jello layer, and whipped cream on top. Which sometimes it was whipped cream in the can, but I'm going to do the homemade version of whipped cream today. But as I'm thinking about it, you can customize this to many different holidays, many different times of the year. I imagine we could do one for Halloween if we did the chocolate pudding layer and an orange flavored jello. And then there's some other layers that you could do for some other holidays. I mean, you can do red, white, and blue if you can find blue jello. So I'm actually, as I'm whisking, I can feel it getting thicker. Just gonna check I have about 30 seconds left. So once the timer goes off, then I'm going to pour it into my cups, which is our next part of this first step. So I can, like I said, I can actually feel it, and you can probably see it getting thicker right in my measuring cup. All right, so that's 2 minutes are up. So yeah, it definitely has thickened up. So we'll just set that for a second and go on to our next step in filling our cups. So let's just put a small layer . I'm making 6 right here. Wasn't sure exactly how many it was going to make, so I just had a few extra cups on hand. And this is instant, but I know there's a regular version that uses boiled milk, but we're gonna just pat this down a little bit and set it in the fridge. So now that we have our pudding in our cups, we divided them amongst 6 cups. I'm going to pop them in the fridge, and for a soft set, it's about 5 minutes, but I want to make sure that it's really set very well, so I want to give it an extra 15 minutes. And then we'll move on to our next step. So let's make our Jello layer now. We're using raspberry Jello today, and so I have again my Pyrex measuring cup that I'm going to use to pour on top of the pudding layer when it's ready, and I'm going to pour up to the 1 cup line. This is my boiling water, and then I have my gelatin that goes right into here. We just want to dissolve that for a little bit. We're actually going to do this for 2 minutes as well, just like we did the pudding layer. This is dissolving the gelatin very well. And after about the 2 minutes, we're going to add 1 cup of cold water. So you have 1 cup of hot or boiling water and 1 cup of cold water. I'm actually going to add it in now. If you don't like the chocolate pudding layer, I suppose you could use a couple of different colored Jellos. I haven't tried it that way, but now's the time to get the kids in the kitchen helping you fill up their cups. Maybe not this layer because it's a little hot or warm, but maybe the chocolate pudding layer. Cool it down a little bit before we pour it on top of our chocolate pudding layer. We don't want to make an indentation in the chocolate pudding layer. So that's pretty well mixed now. We have about 10 seconds left. And after that, we will cool it down a little bit, and then we'll pour it on top of our chocolate pudding. So our chocolate pudding layer is now set. It's nice and firm. And I'm going to now pour the gelatin layer on top of the chocolate pudding using the back of a spoon so that I can control the pouring. I just want to leave a little bit of a space from the top. So that we can actually put our whipped cream layer on top of that. So now we will pop this in the fridge and let this layer set up. That's gonna probably take a little bit longer, at least 2 hours, 3 hours, or until it's firm. So let's check on our Jello layer. Our pudding is set, and it looks like our Jello is set too. So now we're ready to add the last layer, the whipped cream. Let's go. So last but not least, our final layer is our whipped cream layer. You can use the Ready Whip in a can or Cool Whip, but today I'm going to show you how to do a quick and easy homemade whipped cream, one that I learned way back when I was studying to become a chef. So let's take out our cream. And one important step always is to make sure that your mixing bowl is nice and cold, as well as the whisk attachment. And the cream should be very cold as well. So we have our very cold bowl that was in our fridge for a good while. And this step, I mean, it's really worth taking out your KitchenAid or your hand mixer or even a whisk. I know that takes a while, but the end result is really great for homemade whipped cream. So we go in with our cream. That's very cold as well. This is half a pint. Make sure it's locked. Start slowly, because then otherwise it will blow up on you. It'll come out of the bowl. Trust me, I've learned this many times. And you just continue to increase the speed. You can see it's going to start to get foamy right away. This should probably take about 2 minutes, 3 minutes or so, depending on how cold your equipment is, actually. I just want to stop it for a minute just to add my 3 tablespoons of confectioner's sugar, and I'm adding about a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm just going to eyeball that. If you like it sweeter, add a little bit more sugar. If you like it less sweet, take out some sugar. Let's just go back. Now you can see it's getting nice and thick. We want to just be careful at this point. We don't want to over whip it, because then it's going to turn into butter, and you don't want that. So here we go. Take it off the mixer or stand. And you can see the consistency. You can even finish whisking by hand. Nice stiff peaks. There you go, homemade whipped cream, and that took all of what, 2 minutes? So now that 2/3 of our parfait is set, we have our chocolate pudding layer, we have our Jello layer. They're both set nicely. We're going to put the whipped cream on top. I had this in the fridge for a little bit while everything else was setting. And I'm going to just improvise a pastry bag with a Start pastry tip. I have a Ziploc bag today. And we're going to pipe it on top, or if you don't have that, you can just use a spoon. So you can do a couple of different, you can do a few stars. pipe it around. It's a little tricky with the Ziploc bag. Or you can just spoon it right on top. Make it look as pretty as you can. And there we go. It's chocolate pudding, raspberry jello, and whipped cream parfait. I hope you all enjoyed this chocolate pudding, jello, and whipped cream parfait. I hope you'll try it with your kids, experiment with the flavors a little bit. But this is the way I grew up having it, and I love it, and I think you're gonna love it. And if you decide to make it, take a picture and show me. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. See you next time.